In this video, I would like to cover how to create and use classes in Python. First of all, I would like to start basics of classes. For example, I would like to create a class which is called student. Since this is empty right now, I just use the pass command. If I would like to create a new object in this class, let's say I will have a student 1, and I would like to create a student 2 object. Right now I have 2 objects in this class. To be able to see that, I would like to show you where they are located. As you can see, their location in the memory is different. So I would like to assign some attributes to these objects. To be able to do that, I am creating an init method. To do that, first I'm writing our self variable. Self means whenever I call this function with these objects, self means one of these objects. Also, I would like to give them their first name and the last name as an attribute. I would like to give the real names here. For example, let's say Jack Dawson, Mary Poppin. So as you can see, when in our lecture, whenever we wrote a function, we were very careful matching all these objects inside the brackets, right? But since I'm writing self here, it means that I don't have to do this, because this self becomes the student 1 itself. Whenever I type self and let's say first name is an attribute of this of an object, and the name I took with this function is going to be assigned to the first name. Let's say last name, and this last name is going to be assigned we say st1 first, or I should take first name. It's going to give me the first name, which is Jack. And if I change this to st2, it's going to give me the first name of my second student. Also define other attributes, for example, self and email. What I want to do with this, I would like to create an email, a UFL email, for example. I'm getting the first name. I would like to put a dot between first name and the last name. And the other thing I would like to add is add UFL edu. We can do the same for our second student. We can also define this email as a function. It will get the self object. So email was an attribute before. Right now I would like to create an email method, or you can also call it function. Get this email address. I would write, we don't have any more email attribute. We would write st1, since this is an attribute, since this is a function. Don't forget the brackets. Since we have only self object here, we don't have to type anything because self is already st1. So this gave an error because what I need to do, I should say self first name, self last name. All right, because first is just an object here in it's just an object we took with this function, but what we know in this class, self.firstName, it's an attribute. That's how you can use a method inside a class. This is not the only way to reach this function inside a class. Other way to do it, writing the class name and the name of the function, which is email, and typing the object. Both gives the same result. I would like to show you, for example, let's say there are a lot of functions or attributes inside a class and you don't know the name of them, how to use them. Let's say print. This will give you what we can use for this object, first name and the last name. When we say, for example, student, these are the attributes that we can use for this class instead of only for the object. As you can see, you can also see an email, which is a function over here. But when we look at the first one, there is no email here because this only shows the one inside this init function. This one belongs to the class student. I would like to also show you one more thing. So these were variables for objects. So what about if I write an object for a class? There are both master students and undergrad students. I would like to create a general passing grade. The lowest grade for a pass for an undergrad student, let's say it is 60. But this can be different for a master student. Let's call it S3. This is going to be our master's student. Let's say his name is A and his last name is B. Let's say I would like to change this limit for this student. First, I would like to define another function. I would like to change the grade only for master students. Let's say S3 is a master student. What I would like to do, I will call and here again, since I take this self grade is going to be 70. And when I type st3 dot grade, it is going to be 70. Others, for st1 grade is still 60.